Welcome everybody, this is Cardiff Met Radio. We're bringing you all the sports action over the next hour. I'm your host Matt Seddon. I'm joined by Rob, the co-host.
That's right, we're taking over the station tonight. We're going to be bringing you everything Cardiff Met and beyond.
Yes, welcome to Cardiff Met Radio everyone. I'm joined by Blake, Rob and Charlotte. We've got the rugby expert, athletics expert and the football expert. But first let's have a quick update on the news all around Cardiff Met and beyond.
Hello and welcome to Cardiff Met Sport TV News. It is just past 12:30 and here is your afternoon sports news. Cardiff Met students Jenny Nesbitt and Jake Smith competed in Dublin this weekend for the European Cross Country Championships. Jenny battled from the gun and it was rewarded with a 10th place finish, a result which also helped Team GB get the gold. It is looking like Jenny is on target for the Commonwealth Games in the summer. Jake made his European Cross Country Championships debut, finishing in 32nd place. He will now look towards his long-awaited marathon debut next spring. In the Women's British Basketball League, the Cardiff Met Archers lost 54-73 away to Sevenoaks Suns. The Archers are currently 11th in the league and have lost 7 out of their 9 matches. Captain Sarah Wagstaff and her team will go head-to-head with Nottingham Wildcats on Saturday. In the football, the men's team drew 0-0 away to Connors Quay on the weekend. The two teams will meet again in February for the final in the Nathaniel MG League Cup. Met have now gone 3 games unbeaten in all competitions and sit 9th in the table. The women's team beat Cardiff City Women 4-1 on the weekend. They sit in second with 33 points and play Cardiff City again on Thursday, but at home this time. And finally, it's a big game tomorrow for the rugby. It is the Cardiff Clash, and the Archers will be going in confident after beating Swansea 25-23 last week at St Helens.
We definitely know what we have to do to win. We just need to play our right rugby, play in the right areas, play our game. The first Cardiff Clash was quite early on in the season. We were still finding our feet. Obviously, the team is a much different team now to what it was when we first played. But we think we've got the right formula to beat this team, but we definitely need to go in there with the right mindset and not take it lightly.
Well, there we are. We heard from Roma Zeng just then. Rob, you've been speaking to the team, working closely with them. It's the final week of term. It's the final Bucks fixture before the Christmas break starts. What are the Archers thinking before tomorrow's game?
Yeah, to be fair, it was nice to speak to Roman, and it's been quite nice to speak to the boys the last couple of weeks because obviously before that it was 2 back-to-back home games, losing them both. It was a tough couple of weeks for them, and it kind of reflected in the way they spoke to me. You know, it's kind of like they don't want to go in too hard, they don't know what's going wrong, whereas now, especially today, beating Swansea, a derby win does wonders for the confidence, and Roma, you could tell he had a bit of bubble about him. The team were clearly more excited. Their mate was obviously involved in a big game on the weekend for Cardiff Rugby, and it just seems like it's a much better vibe, and it just seems like they're back to the way they were at the start of the season, rather than being a bit like, we haven't won yet away from home, do you know what I mean? And now they're back to their best, I assume.
Improving all the time. Should we just have a little listen to what happened last time, Rob?
Yeah.
Swansea are a good team.
They've got a great squad this year.
Just don't know if they're going to do it.
Well, what do you think?
Of course they're going to do it.
Roderick Evans into Sullivan, and it's over. Cardiff Met are celebrating.
Fantastic try from the captain Morgan Nelson as the entire team go around and celebrate.
Roderick Evans drops a shoulder. Oh, he's danced through the midfield. Oh, that is brilliant.
It's over on that far side. They do get it down.
It's unbelievable. And Will Rigg, is he clean through? Oh, Will Rigg.
It's Matt Marley who puts the ball down.
As Cardiff Met take another try.
Relentless pressure from Cardiff Met pays off, but Cardiff Met come out on top.
Yeah, when you lose 2 in a row, it's going to be hard to bounce back.
They've lost against Loughborough, lost against Durham.
How are we going to beat Swansea after the Durham loss?
Yeah, every game in Bucks is massive, to be fair. They're all a big test. There's no easy games, as Danny said in an interview in the week.
Yeah, I know Swansea can bring it. I know they'll be up for it. So we've got to be on our A game.
You underestimate anybody, you only got to see Swansea's results of late. There's a load of quality in that programme, both the Swansea and that Cardiff game to finish into Christmas. They're going to be cup finals, aren't they?
The thing is,
they're going to do it.
Right, so then we're here at St Helens now for Swansea Uni versus Cardiff Met.
We've gone away this week. We're not at Kincoid campus.
Here come Cardiff Met, the ball's in the hands of Bradley Denty. He dummies a couple of challenges. Will Rigg with the offload. The referee blows his whistle.
Oh, he was slightly forward there.
Here is Cardiff Met, then they're going to dive over the line. It is a try for Cardiff Met. Half-time score, the home team Swansea, Uni 6, Cardiff Met 13.
Yeah, again this week it feels as if maybe Cardiff may have started a bit slowly.
Dead all afternoon. The Swansea boys love an upset and they love one in the derby in particular. Very dangerous start from Swansea Uni, kicking left to right. Here comes Swansea. It is the centre. He's gone through. Tom Florence. Here he is again with a lovely dummy pass. The centre's over again. Tom Florence over the line. He has been on fire tonight.
That's just how quickly a game can change.
That's more like it. We've seen Morgan Nelson do this before. Romer's End, we've seen him collect these spins, one challenge. They're going to keep going. It's another try for Cardiff Met. It's booted into touch, and that's the game.
But Super Rugby, never fails to deliver, does it?
It never fails to deliver. 25-23, Rob, in that last game. That's a little update on the Archer season so far. I mean, they are playing well, like you're saying. There's so much excitement building into the clash. But just summarise the game for us against Swansea.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I was excited to go down. Obviously, going back to St Helens, somewhere I'd watched rugby for the last 3 years straight, pretty much, except for when, obviously, COVID had hit. But yeah, no, it was awesome to go back. And even though, from my point of view, I feel like I benefit more from Cardiff doing well now. We want to see them get into the playoffs. We want to see them finish as high as we can. It was kind of ideal for me because I saw exactly what I missed from the Swansea boys. Like they just give so much passion and energy, and they just never beat. And I remember I did halftime interviews with some of the boys I used to well, I still know, but I used to be in school with, and they just never give up. The mentality's mad, and it ended up being a really good game just because they didn't know when they were beat, and yeah, it was good.
Talk about the conditions a little bit and how that affected the game, because obviously it was, what were they calling it? Storm Brendan, was it?
Yeah,
or,
well,
I don't know
well,
what we're on, but
we were all thinking, oh mate, we ain't gonna go in the end. Like we were worried about COVID tests and getting on the bus, and in actual fact, the biggest thing that was going to call that game off was the weather. Somehow we just got so lucky. We turned up with all our kit and it held off. The second we got undercover, the heavens opened and it was torrential rain. The winds were there, but ultimately the wind is kind of what helped us win. I'm sure you both saw the kick.
Oh, mate, I was going to ask you about the kick, but I just want to speak about the conditions. Do you reckon it was worse than what me and Griff had to go through against Hartpury?
No, mate. The thing you went through in Hartpury was the worst I've ever seen. And I don't know, maybe it was more stormy wind, whereas you just had absolute tsunami rain, didn't you? But no, I don't know. I think it was tougher playing conditions, but you just had it so bad in terms of.
That's what I mean. Roger Evans going for that line kick, in them conditions.
Yeah, I think they must have planned it. They must have planned it because he didn't even hesitate. He knew the wind was behind him in the first half, and he was like, right, T, let's go.
Let's talk about him a little bit in terms of the season as a whole. Roger Evans, is his kicking is that what's winning Archer's games at the moment?
Blake will know. He's seen a fair few games, and there was a try he scored. And you remember your game when he danced over the line at commentary?
That was probably our favourite try. To be honest, we keep looking back at what's our favourite try of the year so far. We go back to that one where he just danced his way through. Awesome. He's so vital for the team, and he's just like you said. How important is he? He is the man they look for, and with his kicking ability as well.
Yeah, no, because at this level you have to be able to rely on someone to make those kicks.
Yeah,
he does that, and you don't even question. It's a bit like when Ronaldo wins a penalty in football. You just know he's scoring it. You don't need to worry anymore. You just need to worry about winning the penalty. And Charles Rylands was there. He got in so many people's heads, and every time Swansea gave away the penalty, he would just stand there pointing at the post, just going, "You idiots! You know exactly where that ball's going." And when your teammates have that confidence in you, you just can't put a foot wrong, really.
I think it's spot on as well. And when you look at the winning margins, what was it, 2 points against Swansea? Was it 3 points against Bath? These are all penalty points, aren't they? So they're all, such small margins, these victories, they're all basically down to him.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on in the team. I think this, the TikTok kind of emphasises that loads. It's, Brad gets all the praise, and rightfully so, but there was so much more to that performance, and I think the Swansea game of all the games showed that it wasn't just him. It's massively down to the team. That's what I'm trying to say, I suppose. Joe Locke coming off the bench, he gets his start, and he was phenomenal. And then Charles dropped for the first time, but as soon as he came on, he was full of energy. And essentially all the boys won the game. It wasn't just Brad, and you can put it down to his kick being that 25-23 margin, but honestly, it took much more than just kicking to win that game.
Well, this is it. And tomorrow, obviously, the big one at the Cardiff Clash, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Let's just hear what happened last time. And there we go. Full-time whistle here at the King Cod campus. 11-0. Yes.
And it's good then. That's 3 points to Cardiff Uni. Two relatively easy kicks, but high pressure in the derby. Crowd all on their feet, ready for this line out. Oh, and it's a short pass. The number two's through. There it is, and it's across the line for Cardiff Met.
What a try.
Fantastic try from the captain, Morgan Nelson, as the entire team go around and celebrate. And it comes out. It's a couple of 1-2 passes. They charge to the line. Is it over this time for Cardiff Uni? No, he says yes, it's over. And it's another Cardiff Uni try. They left it crowded out, but it is a conversion from Cardiff Uni as it takes the score to 13-8 just before half time. And it's going to be the number 10 that's going to get us back underway. Gotta hit him with a kick. They're loving it, they're having a great time out here. It's a good driving ball. Can they come over the line? Yes. It's down, yes it is! And there it is. Cardiff Met score the try. The substitutions make the difference.
That was a huge
Bradley
kick.
Roderick Evans comes onto the pitch and delivers. Spread the play over to the far side of Cardiff Met. Now here's a bit of pace. Here goes the winger.
2-on-1.
There it is. Gonna go all the way. Yes, he is. And he's over the line. Fantastic try. Because Cardiff Uni, they're gonna go all the way. They got over the line. Oh my word. That driving ball, something you mentioned Cardiff were good at.
Yeah.
Bradley Roderick Evans then, off the bench, made the impact. It's up. And it's good! It's good! From Cardiff Met, Bradley Roderick Evans makes the final kick.
So that's what happened last time out. I'm going to bring in Blake here and Rob. They're going to discuss, how the Archers can win again. They used a trick play last time out, and that might not work again because, Cardiff might see it coming now.
Yeah, because I've seen Robin Griffith doing the analysis number on this one not too long ago. And it was cheeky because we've said a lot of this season how good they are, the set pieces and the line-out throws. And you were there, you've seen it firsthand, you were commentating on it. You're going to need little smart plays again, but we know they've got the adaptability to do that, haven't they?
To pull them out. Yeah, honestly, that commentary haunts me now. That first, when you look back at it and you just think, oh my God, use a different word. Everything's fantastic, but no, it was brilliant. So we'll mix it up a little bit and use that word. But the set plays, it's been crucial all season. That one was probably as funky as it's gotten with the give and go. Like you say, we got the ability to do that, but they'll be switched on now because I don't know what it was about Cardiff. I was surprised at how well they actually played. They're not infamously a name that's like up there. And after the clash, I thought, well, we're going to be up there, and if they did that to us, they're going to be up there. And now they've slipped all the way down the table, and they're out the playoff at the moment. They're out the championship.
Talking of the table, Rob, give us a bit of context. Where Met are, like you said, Cardiff have fallen down at the playoffs, and
the opponents on Wednesday, they've fallen down well down into the table. Like I think they're second from bottom now. They're second from bottom, and the only team below them are Northumbria, and Northumbria have their qualities that they're capable of upsetting, but they tend not to. Try not to be too harsh on them. It's a difficult league. But Cardiff, they're second from bottom. They've struggled in the big games and the smaller games as well since that first game. We're fourth. We've sat fourth for a fair few weeks now. When you struggle to beat the teams above you, those really big games that are, potentially double the points essentially, it's going to be hard to break into that top four.
But as we say, playoffs in the bag.
playoffs in the bag because I don't want to jinx it.
Nah, to be fair, they've shown signs that, you know, there's something special going on this season. Like we said, it's just about that away form. I've commentated as well on the rugby, and I've noticed that there's a certain energy that the Cardiff Met side have got. Obviously, you and Griff have been so embedded, and you've seen that now. But there's something special about the Cardiff clash tomorrow that Cardiff Uni will see that as like probably the biggest game of the season, because it's a huge upset, and Cardiff Met need to be professional and go back to basics and get the win.
No, what you say about the energy there, the crowd bring that. I think I said we did our podcast yesterday, and we talked about it, and it's like in the media, we can call us that. I don't know if we can call us that. The Cardiff Met media. You always use the phrase, "What would you be without the fans? The fans make the difference. They're like the 16th man." All these like typical phrases, but honestly, it is so true with Cardiff Met. Like, I've never seen a crowd make such a difference on a team in any sport. In any team. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to just second that as well. I feel like it's grown over the years. I don't remember it being this big and this much hyped. And you say the media, I think that's a credit to us as well and what we're doing for the rugby club, because it just seems to be building and thriving. And like you said, the fans are really backing behind, and we can expect 400 or 500 numbers down at the game tomorrow night.
Couple thousand. We're home. We're home. We've got 2,000 tickets, man.
Right. Okay. So we're
talking 1,000, at least 1,000, probably. But yeah, no, like you said, you didn't hear this before when you were at Cardiff Met. I've seen Swansea support. There's a bit of bias there, but it is definitely one of the best in the league. But the influence it has on the team isn't necessarily as strong. So, like, I'm not saying Cardiff Met support is any better or any worse than anyone else, because I'm sure every team thinks they have the best support. But the actual influence it has on how the boys perform. We were at Swansea, the boys were struggling. 10, 15 minutes into the game, the bus of 70, 80, 90, 100 Cardiff Met supporters pull it up. Just like that, Roma Zeng picks up the ball, runs the pitch, bang, gets tackled before the line. But it was honestly like, they saw their mates, they saw the boys that they can't let down. Massive switch. It's ridiculous. And tomorrow, having the majority of fans, they'll make all the difference.
I think that's it. The players, they're connected to the fans, aren't they? They're friends. They're in lectures on campus. So, they're close to them. Like you say, they don't want to let them down. But that's the rugby. You catch it tomorrow night, 7:30, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, 7:30 on Spa.
Be there, and it is actually live on Buck Super Rugby on YouTube as well, isn't it? So
so far, as far as I know, it is going on.
Absolutely, to be sure not to miss that one. But over to the football now, and me and Charlotte covered the women's game last week, and it was an 11-0 whitewash, wasn't it, Charlotte?
It was indeed. Yeah, no, it was an interesting game. Hertfordshire turned up with 8 players, and they turned up 15 minutes late. We watched them come out to warm up, and then clocked. They just didn't have a full team. Sort of thought, why did they turn up? Because how long did it take for them to get here?
Yeah, Hertfordshire's not close, is it? North London. But yeah, I feel like they kind of made a little bit of mockery of the league, and it was, I don't want to say a wasted 90 minutes, but it was very much a procession, wasn't it? And when we were commentating on the game, it took a while for the game to open up and for Cardiff Met to score, just because Hertfordshire pretty much camped out all 8 players.
They played 11v8?
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Seriously?
Yeah.
To be fair, like, you can see that down as you want to make a wasted trip for Hertfordshire. You know what I mean? Like,
I was like, why would they get on the bus with knowing they had 8 players?
What were they expecting? Because they could have easily said, "No, we're having a 3-0 automatic." Like, what?
Yeah.
And there's no way they were going to win anyway.
We played with 8.
No, they played with 8 against
that's
R11.
Is it a situation of getting the players some game time? They know they're going to come to Cardiff Met and get absolutely, battered. But to be fair to them, they play Bucks, and that's what Bucks is about. It's about inclusivity. They want to get the minutes in against a really good uni. Yeah, it is 8, and yeah, it is pretty rubbish when you look at it on paper, but it's a chance for players to play.
Mate,
I'm trying to defend them.
You were training this morning, mate. Imagine saying, "Do you want to train this morning, but I'll tie a couple of bricks to your leg?" Like, that's not an experience. 8 players against 11, and Cardiff Met are one of the better teams in the league as well. Like, you say that's what Buck's about. That's not what Buck's about.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't very professional. And I think the rules were that I thought Cardiff Met might, potentially lend them a few players, or even just go down to an 8v8 themselves. But as soon as you start with less than 11, one side starts with less than 11, the game's void. So Cardiff Met couldn't do that, so they had to play 11v8. And it was kind of a game. I mean, they're joint top with Bath, and they've actually got a game in hand. So you would presume they're going to go top after Christmas when they play that game in hand. But it was kind of a game they just had to play and had to get the 3 points.
That's nuts. Could they not have just gone, right, we'll have a 3-0 win, but we'll still have a game 8v8, or we'll give you some players? Can they not just do that?
That's a good shot.
That's a good shout, but I think Hearts, in all fairness to Hearts, they were prepared and, well, not prepared, but they were prepared to play. They were prepared to play with 8 players, and they wanted to play with 8 players. I spoke to the manager before the game, and he was like, "Yeah, it's fine. Like, we don't care." And the girls are very much kind of shrugging it off as well. They're bottom of the table.
Bad for they were. I mean, they obviously lost 11-0, but at some points they weren't horrendous.
Imagine that team talk.
Yeah, they had spells, but interestingly, let's bring in COVID here, because the reason they only had 8 players supposedly was because of COVID, and they'd actually had 2 of their previous games called off, and we're starting to see a couple Premier League games now. Look, when we're looking at Bucks, we're going into the Christmas break. Do we think fixtures are going to be affected the other side of Christmas?
Yes, I obviously don't know how the wave of Omicron is going to go, but I mean, it seems like everyone's getting it now. It depends how fast are the boosters, but do they have any sort of backup for if games are getting cancelled? Do they extend? I'm not sure they did wasn't really on last season, but will they have to stop the league if it gets to the point where so many games have been called off? I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see how it rolls out. And Blake, we're going to touch upon the Christmas Classic later, but everyone going into the arena on Nike on Sunday is going to need to be taking their lateral flow and fill in a whereabouts form as well.
Yeah.
A locator form. So I think we're going to start to see more and more of that. And are we seeing that tomorrow night as well, Rob? If you are going to go to the rugby, do you have to do a lateral flow?
I had to do one to get on the bus to go to Swansea, so I imagine that. I don't even think it's a big deal so much in the rugby. They kind of just get on with it, do the tests, and they're with the same boys every day pretty much. So I can't imagine it's too much of an issue for them. And I think if they did test positive, their squad's big enough. But like you say, maybe with the women's football, when you do get hit by COVID, there's only so much you can do. And if that is the reason, fair play to them for even just showing up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we'll see. They'll be doing lateral flows, and if it does hit, it hits. I don't think you can do anything about it.
Like I say, fixtures due to resume on the 26th of January, the other side of Christmas. So that's the women. We'll just touch upon the men real quick. They're sitting 5th in the Bucks League, 8 points. They've only won 2 games and 2 draws out of 9. They're due to play Swansea after Christmas. They haven't actually got a fixture tomorrow. But Blake, I'm just going to bring you in here. Both in Bucks and in the Arden Prem, they're struggling a little bit at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah, just on the Bucks, man. The recent game that I went to watch was against USW, and that was possibly one of the most heartbreaking defeats I've seen at my time at Cardiff Met University, because I seen Christian Edwards talk to that team like I've never seen that team sat down. That is a situation. You've seen Hull come out into coming into the midfield. Remember that Jimmy Bullard celebration? He gets them all down, gets them in front of people, and show them up really, because they got beat 1-0. And honestly, that just shows the standard that they're expecting, because USW, credit to them, the keeper did all right to keep him in the game and weren't really putting away their chances. But yeah, it could suggest that there's a bigger issue at work with the Bucks men. But I think overall, I think there needs to be something looked at. Yeah, they're trying to bring back their form in the Bucks men, but overall as well, maybe it leaks over to when we're going to touch on the Premier League team as well. The whole structure of Cardiff Met as a club. We see players like Brandon come up through the ranks of the development and then through Bucks and also the university team. So that culture's there. They're embedded players all across the club, really. It's not just Premier League players. But I also heard Christian say to that team, saying, look, if you think that you can play performances like that going into like a Prem team, you're just not gonna. There's no competition at all. Fair play to the Welsh Prem. There's been a lot of changes. The Conference League situation where they've lost a place because they're ranking in FIFA World Rankings. They've lost that European spot, so now it's Conference League for second place. And even at that level, it's going to become more tougher now, because it's going to be even more competitive, perhaps. That's a different conversation, but that competitiveness is going to suggest that you can't put in performances that are lackluster. You turn up and just expecting to win. You need to put in performance. I think that's the message he was trying to get to those young players.
Blake, is it a case of you've got the uni side struggling, and the Saturday side struggling? Is it when things are going good, they're going good for both? When things are going bad, they're going bad for both? Is there a bit of that? I
think so. Do you know what? What we were speaking about earlier about the rugby culture at this university, once one team's hurting, I feel like other teams can hurt as well. The whole club can get affected. And in football, that is the case. Because again, like we said, we see Brendan, we see players like that coming through the ranks. yes, it does affect the confidence. But, you know, maybe you can look towards the Prem team as the example. They lead by example, you know. But I want to say, though, beating Barry Town 3-2, the men's Prem team in the Nathaniel MG League Cup, that's a big turning point for me. I think that is a real chance now to turn this around. Christmas is coming soon, the end of the year, and I think Met being in that final could just be the confidence booster the whole club needs.
On that final, then, it's actually been announced it's going to be at Pennebont. So, you know, I remember when we did the radio show last week or the week before, we didn't know where the final was going to be played, and now it's going to be confirmed. It's going to be at Pennebont on the 5th of Feb.
Yeah, I heard rumours that it was going to be at Deeside at Connors Quay Stadium, so that would have been interesting if it was there, because that would have been a home sort of advantage for Connors Quay, because that's who they play in the final. And they recently played them, and they drew 0-0. And I watched that game back, and Connors Quay probably weren't as happy as Met with the results, because they did put the ball in the back of the net twice for 2 offside goals. So Met were probably happier to take a point away. So, yeah, if that's the preview of what's going to happen in the final, maybe Met do need to improve. But I'm sure they'll take that, because Met are 9th in the table right now. But, like we said, in the Cup, anything happens. Met have won it before. Connors Quay are the reigning champs. It was called off last year. So, essentially, the last 2 winners are going to play against each other. So, that could just be, you know, like we say, we can maybe take form away, take the confidence away, just go into it, knowing what you can do. A few fans will probably go up and probably just enjoy playing football like I know how they can.
And they've got Barry Town on Saturday.
Yeah, and that was the team they beat in the semi-final to get to the final. They beat them 3-2. That was a tremendous performance. Again, I seen the impact of the fans. It was there's some good goals, a penalty, Emlyn Lewis corner, again, strong on the set pieces, something that they're so well drilled on in the culture, and the analysis that they do, they're really serious in football at this uni. And Evans as well, with another fantastic goal and a good transitional counter attack. So yeah, man, they're doing well. So hopefully they can turn this situation around.
Well, look, that's basically Bucks and everything Cardiff Met related for now. I'm just going to bring in Rob. He's just going to talk a little bit about the news around Wales and the Cardiff Blues, especially because we got a good Cardiff Met link there, haven't we, Rob?
Yeah, no, on Saturday, big news for all the boys, actually, not just the one involved. As you know, Cardiff Rugby played Toulouse. Big game for Cardiff Rugby in general. Obviously, most people will be aware about the story of the Cardiff Blues players having to isolate, so the majority of the first teamers aren't involved. And Joe Cowell, the Cardiff Met forward, he got the call up. He was telling us about it this morning. On his way home from the gym, I think he was picking up his mate to go to class, and he got the phone call saying that can you play for us on Saturday? So yeah, he got the phone call. He trained. I think he said Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, along those lines, and then played Saturday. Then,
man, interesting to see how that works, Rob. He hasn't signed a contract or anything, has he? So are they able at that level just to call in players from a university side? Because you wouldn't get that.
It's a weird one, because rugby works a little bit different to football. Players kind of move around a fair bit. He was talking earlier about making his choices, whether he wanted to pursue a career with Cardiff Rugby or carry on with Met. He's a young lad. I think he's only 19. Obviously a fresher. I'm sure he's confident in himself that he can get through his uni career. Now you've got to have your backup, your education. You get that sorted, and then who knows? Because you're playing at that level now. Cardiff, they were a bit unlucky to lose, and I say that they did lose 7-39. But unlucky in terms of the circumstance for the club, and the boys did the best they could coming in.
Just when you say when players prioritise education, I know that Danny Milton really prioritises that as well. He always says to the players, really think of that education, and I think that example of Joe Cowell is a really good example of that, just showing that they really care about what they do at Cardiff Met, and they provide that platform for them to, then get that confidence and then go into pro rugby afterwards.
Yeah, no, well, I live with a scrum half who used to play for Swansea now, and he was in the Bristol Academy. He was up and coming. And I'm not gonna lie, he was proper good. And in all fairness, everyone's got their sob stories of why they didn't make it, but his is, you can believe it, and I saw it day by day of what actually happened. He was unlucky not to get chosen, but he said, I'm going to go to Swansea because you've got to have your backup, and he lives by that. You've got to have your backup. You've got to have your education, and he's strength and conditioning coach now, and he's doing well for a college team. The rugby career might not have worked out, but it's never too late. And it's like I say, it's a bit different with football. Charlotte,
I was going to say it's complete. Look, you wouldn't. I mean, it's like almost the opposite of football. For young boys, find that they get
so far in the academy and then they're suddenly dropped and they haven't had the chance to really do anything else. So it's very different. I don't think you really would have that circumstance as much.
Yeah, with rugby, you can literally, I'm not being funny, like, if you're good enough, you're getting picked. In football, you all know when you go Sunday League and you look at that boy and he's skinning you all and you think, geez, how didn't he get picked up? But it's just too late. When he's 25, they're not going to take a chance. Like, Jamie Vardy's won in literally a million, maybe even more. But with rugby, mate, that happens all the time. You could be 28. If you start absolutely dropping game when you're 28, someone will pick you up, mate. There'll be someone there. Like, boys back home playing for the girls, they'll say, you know, there's a local team slightly higher. One of the boys was like, look, and I want to play as high a caliber rugby as I can because they have scouts at their games, you never know. And now he's got a semi-pro contract and he's looking to go pro next year now. So
wow, so in
I
rugby,
think he's 26.
Wow, yeah. So the dream's still alive, no matter how old and what level you're playing at in rugby.
I mean, there's no rush for Joe. You know, like you said, the first thing he said to me was, "What is he thinking? Why is he not going pro?"
Absolutely, I was, yeah.
But mate, it's never too late. You know,
but
injuries and that they happen. But
for me, you know, surely you got to take your opportunities when they come. And yeah, like I said, he could get injured in a couple of years' time, and a new forward at Cardiff Met comes in, and he's a bigger name. And
yeah, but it's a testament to Cardiff Met that they offer such a good education and performance and a calibre of rugby that can be seen as equally as good of an opportunity. Like, he's looked and he thought, look, I could go pro now, or I can stick with Cardiff Met. They're providing me with a high level of rugby, good exposure because we're covering the games, Bucks are covering the games. You know, they're getting unreal exposure. And yeah, he has his education and plenty of opportunities in the future as well.
Well, there we go. Let's move on then just to the athletics and the cross country on the weekend, European Championships. Probably the biggest story was Jenny Nesbitt finishing 10th in Europe, and she actually achieved a second team gold at the Euro Champs. She did it in 2019 in Lisbon. She's done it again in Dublin. So look, I caught up with Jenny just yesterday actually, just to see how, you know, her thoughts of the race. Right, Jen, Cardiff Met Radio here. Congratulations, 10th place finish at the European Cross Country Champs. How's it feel?
Thanks. Yeah, it's great, to be honest. I wanted to come top 10 going into the race, so to kind of come away and say I'm the 10th best athlete in Europe over cross at the moment is pretty good.
Mate, give us a lowdown a little bit on the event itself, because it was in Dublin, the crowds were huge for once at a cross-country event, the course was brutal, so just give us a little lowdown on how you thought the event was as a whole.
Yeah, I thought it was great, to be honest. I was really gutted that it was cancelled last year because of COVID, so I knew going into it was going to be fantastic, and the Irish are great, and I've actually run on the course previous to the Champs this weekend, so I knew what the course was like and where it was. So I was really excited to kind of get out there and race.
And the team won gold. Is that your second gold medal?
Yeah, second gold medal in two comps. So yeah, really nice to kind of solidify our title and get it back. And 4 of us were on the team 2 years ago. So, you know, to kind of replicate that and come away with another gold medal is really good.
Mate, absolutely. You say you ran on a course before. When?
So there's like an open in like the autumn of every year. Mm-hmm. So my first ever race representing Wales was actually there in 2017.
Right.
So yeah,
so
a
good
few
preparations.
times.
You knew what you're getting yourself in for.
What I was letting myself in for, which I think was very good considering the brutalness of the course.
Yeah, just talk us through, you mentioned before you about your splits. Talk us through them splits a little bit and how that went down.
Yeah, it was pretty fast start. We ran about 5:12 for the first mile, which for a cross-country race is pretty quick. And then they got progressively slower, so we'd call that a regression run. Not the nicest way to run a race, but I think I was still kind of staying or moving through the field throughout the race. So if I was slowing down that much, people were slowing down even more. So I think it just shows like the kind of pace we went out at and how unsustainable that was.
You were just battling and grafting the whole way, weren't you?
Yeah, it was literally like that the whole way. I honestly can't really remember the last 400 meters.
So looking ahead, the calendar year's drawing to a close. What's next for you? You going to do any more cross-country races?
Cross-country's over for me now, which I'm kind of happy, kind of sad about, but I'm excited to move on to the indoor boards and give that a go. I've not really done much indoor racing, so I'm excited to kind of see if I'm suited to it. I'm pretty short, so I think that might be to my advantage.
And you are competing, we can announce, you are competing at the Christmas Classic in Nyack on Sunday. So if you want to see Jenny 10th place in Europe and GB gold medalist, then you can see her on Sunday, can't you? What time's your race, Jenny?
Our race is around 12:40, I think. So,
Perfect.
yeah, I'll be there. And I'm
Any
looking forward to it.
expectations going in? Any goals?
I'd just like to finish the race with a time beginning with 8. So, we'll see how it goes.
And of course, you never know. The World Indoor Championships is later in March, isn't it?
It is. So,
So maybe a sneaky eye on that.
we will have a go.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Take care. Well, there we go. That was Jenny's thoughts on the weekend, and obviously she just mentioned she's going to be in Nyack on Sunday for the Christmas Classic. And I did, briefly joke with her. The World Indoor Championships are in March, and she's not too far away. She's only 10 seconds off the standard, so if she can have a good run, she may get selected for that as well. So I'm sure she's got half an eye on it, but she didn't want to admit it to me. Fair enough. But look, on Dublin as well, and one big thing, Blake, one huge story coming from Dublin is it was an incredible run from Jenny, 10th place. And on that team podium as well. In London, the crowds and the atmosphere have been incredible, and it really was incredible. Jenny touched upon it was the best atmosphere she's ever competed in.
Yeah, it's a really good atmosphere for long distance running. I think, especially being in GB. Yes, it is an island, but it's only across the Irish Sea, and yeah, it's good to have this so close. I spoke to a couple of people who are hopefuls for the Commonwealths. Again, that's in Birmingham in 2022. Something surely that Jenny's probably going to want to look for. And yeah, having the home crowd, it's a cliche thing now we keep going back to, that athletics has really struggled without the fans. It's been really tough to see British Championships and European Championships alike without the crowds, helping and just making a bit of an atmosphere. Like you say, the sport's nothing without it. I was speaking to Joe Breyer, one of my training partners, and he was saying, even when he was in Tokyo, and not having any sort of crowd there is a completely different thing. And but we know as athletes we were there to adapt, and especially when you've got the caliber of Jenny Nesbitt, I'm sure she will definitely be alert to anything and try and always be the best she can, and going into the indoors as well. But with them, sort of having the crowd with you, it's always a massive booster.
Absolutely, and also, out there was Jake Smith. He finished up in 32nd place. Not as good a run as he would maybe like, but he is a road runner. And, we touched on Jenny ending her track season. Jake's the same, cross-country season. Jake's the same. He's not going to do cross-country again for the rest of the year. He's going to focus on now. He's going to do the indoors as well in Nyack. He's going to attack sub-8, which is kind of like a sub-8 minutes for 3,000 metres. It's a big barrier. Yeah. And again, the world indoor qualifying standard is 750, so I think he's going to target that as well, alongside Piers Copeland, also a Cardiff Met student, both signed with Nike a few weeks ago. So we've got the Christmas Classic to look forward to on Sunday. That's pretty much it here on Cardiff Met Radio. We wrapped up all the sport around campus for you and beyond. So we're just going to leave you with the final news bulletin.
Here is the latest news from Cardiff Met Sport TV. Cardiff Met students Jenny Nesbitt and Jake Smith competed in Dublin this weekend for the European Cross Country Championships. Jenny came 10th place, which helped Team GB get the gold. It is looking like Jenny is on target for the Commonwealth Games in the summer. Jake made his European Cross Country Championships debut and finished in 32nd place. He will now look towards his long-awaited marathon debut next spring. In the Women's British Basketball League, the Cardiff Met Archers lost 54-73 away to Seven Oaks Suns. They currently sit 11th in the league and have lost 7 out of their 9 matches. Captain Sarah Wagstaff and her team will go head-to-head with Nottingham Wildcats on Saturday. In the football, the men's team drew 0-0 away to Connors Quay, who they next play in the final of the Nathaniel MG League Cup in February. They have now gone 3 games unbeaten in all competitions and are currently sitting in 9th. The women's team beat Cardiff City women 4-1 away on the weekend. They are now in second with 33 points and will play Cardiff City again on Thursday, but at home this time. And finally, it's a big game tomorrow for the rugby. It's the Cardiff Clash, and the Archers will be going in confident after beating Swansea 25-23 last week at St Helens. You can catch the game on the Bucks YouTube channel tomorrow at 7:30. That's all we've got time for. Goodbye.